Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Okay, I'm going to jump right in and do a Meghan Markle Raglan special for you today. Or something like that. Let's call it a Harry and Meghan special then. So while Harry is still somewhere hiding out from what I'm not sure, it could be because 6 million has gone AWOL from their charity. It could be that his connection to a certain Diddy may break soon, or he could indeed be hiding from his crazy wife. Who knows? But where is Harry? Some say he's back in the United States and has been back since early last week, and others say he's still somewhere in Africa. Some even suggested that he is in Kenya, some that he's back in Lesotho, and others are saying he's still in Cape Town visiting his cousins or in a rehab. There are also a few suggesting that he may be in the United Kingdom. I personally think he's back in the United States, not because of his interview or talk with Jonathan Haidt, because that could have been taped a month or two ago, but because there appears to be some behind the scenes drama with lawyers and so on. And I'm not sure whether Harry can deal with it via Skype or whether he has to deal with it in person. But my contact is keeping her ear to the ground, so I'm not going to say too much for now, because if my original informant is indeed correct, then Harry is finding himself in a very, very tight spot right now. So hang in there for me. Let's just say, let's give you a tip and say that the visa issue has not gone away, and at the moment for more than one reason. Okay, so as soon as I know all the details, I'll definitely share it with you. Anyway, let's talk about Meghan. Meghan attended two events alone while Harry was who knows where. The one was, of course, the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles event, and then the next one was an event at Girls Incorporated. So let's first talk about Meghan telling young girls that she, poor Megsie, is the most bullied person on earth. Well, it is the strangest thing I've ever heard a 43-year-old tell a child. How immature can a 43-year-old be? Or is Meghan so narcissistic that she has to be the most, the first, the best, the top in absolutely everything? And bullied. Bullied how? I thought she said she does not have social media, do not read or watch anything on social media. And best of all, isn't she the one who was accused of bullying her staff in England? Weren't the allegations so severe that a complete investigation was launched? Wasn't it strange that the investigation report was buried? I mean, if Meghan was innocent, then I'm sure no one would have minded releasing the report. And more recently, wasn't it the same Meghan Markle who was called a dictator in high heels? A monster who made grown men cry? But our memories are so fickle. We're all stuck on Meghan's bullying behavior after she joined the royal family, but we forget that she displayed that kind of behavior much, much earlier than that. Remember that video at Nanaki Pretty's birthday party? How Meghan took over and pretended to be queen? Remember how she ordered everyone around and how irate she became when somebody did not exactly do what she wanted them to? Then later on, when she became somewhat famous, a New York-based videographer called her a diva and nicknamed her Princess long before she even met Harry, and because she was so full of SHIT. For the shoot, she arrived in a baseball cap with an entourage of 12 people. She requested champagne. She also demanded she be given full approval of all the footage. The videographer said she had a reputation for being difficult, and he told the Daily Mail that she was high maintenance and rude. Remember the Reitmans campaign? Meghan modelling for this Canadian clothing brand. Well, after the shoot, she was described as, and I quote, the meanest person I've ever met by Jean Malik, one of the directors. Meghan demanded different hotel rooms, wanted to be booked in under a different name. She got into arguments about the script. She was always fed up. Sighing, huffing, rolling her eyes at things, etc., etc. Meghan's bullying behavior was thus not reserved for her life as a duchess. It is behavior she displayed since childhood. She could be sweet and charming one moment and mean and nasty the next. So in light of this, why should we even doubt whether she bullied staff or not? It has been my belief that Meghan is a malignant narcissist and a sociopath for a long, long time. To have 19 staff members quit on you in 6 years has to tell us something. How can it not? Also consider that the staff we know about are their prominent staff. What about other staff? What about gardeners, cooks, nannies, and housekeepers? I personally heard the testimony of 2 household staff, some of the first to work for them in Montecito. And I shouldn't do this, but one of those people, let's call her LJ, even told me about pushing and shoving by Meghan. None of them are allowed to keep their cell phones on them, even if they have young children at home. They are not to speak to Meghan unless she speaks to them first, or look her in the eye unless she is speaking to them. They are also to address her as Duchess and thereafter Ma'am. According to LJ, the nanny is treated even worse, at least the one they had when LJ was still there. And this particular nanny she referred to was the one they got after their British nanny returned home. So not one of us know how many household staff quit on Harry and Meghan, but my guess would be quite a few since they moved to Montecito. I also heard of a temporary guard posted at their home who had a bit of a rough run-in with the Duke and the Duchess. Luckily, he was only a stand-in for someone who was sick and he could ask to be replaced the next day. Now, for legal reasons, I cannot tell the story, but basically he could not or would not comply to a request made by the Duke, and it did not go well. Anyway, I agree with mainstream media on one thing. Of the few people I spoke to, Harry is indeed more charming than Meghan. I was told so by a number of people, but he's not innocent. He can also be petulant and entitled and a real huffy-puffy crybaby, and definitely an enabler. So How can the 43-year-old even dare to go anywhere and tell young girls she is the most bullied person on the planet, if we can, for all intents and purposes, tell you with a fair amount of certainty that she or they bullied at least 19 of their high-performance administrative staff, at least one guard, and at least two household staff that I know of. Okay, I'm sure there are many more, over a period of only 6 years. Anyway, something else very interesting, okay? Talking about staff, did you know or realize that Beth Herrely accompanied Harry on his solo trip to Lesotho in South Africa? I didn't either until one of you pointed it out to me. What exactly is the story with Harry and Beth? Beth had worked for the royal family on and off for a long, long time, at least since 2016. She spent a short time with Meghan, then started a company, Harry and Loughran, with a friend, and then Harry rehired her. So I now understand that Beth is technically not staff, but contracted through her business to work for Harry. So I guess Meghan cannot fire her. In light of Beth's business interests in Britain, I find it rather fascinating that she eventually followed Harry and Meghan to the United States, or then followed Harry to the United States, because I understand that she is working exclusively for him, and that she knows these charities, sent to Bali and Invictus, for instance, inside and out. What also makes this even more strange is the fact that allegedly Meghan is not particularly nice to Beth, and on more than one occasion had admonished, insulted, and bullied Beth in public. One particular incident I was told about specifically occurred in Jamaica, where they met up with Paramount CEO Tim Robbins and his wife. Although the incident occurred backstage, there were journalists and cameras present. Yet Beth stays and often accompanies Harry on her own without Meghan, just like she did on this particular trip to Lesotho in South Africa. Someone else who followed Harry from the United Kingdom to America is David Langdon. David was with the Met Police Royal Protection Command. David Langdon served with the Royal Protection Command for 16 years, of which he was assigned to Harry for nearly 10 years. When Harry and Meghan left the royal family, David Langdon retired from the Met and continued to work for Harry, who calls him Langers. That sounds just like Harry. Langers. How childish. Anyway, so how can these two survive Meghan when others, many others, can't? Is it because they primarily work for Harry? And then remember, there's also James Holt, the Archwell Foundation top dog. All three these people are British. All three, in one way or the other, worked for the royal family and Harry before Meghan came into the picture. Are these three a sort of non-negotiable part of some agreement or contract? Or is there something else? What do you guys think? Okay, guys, so I'm off. It has been a busy weekend. Dragon Man got an old cabinet as a gift to restore, and he was working on it all of Saturday, and Grandma had to go buy panel pins and then screws and wood oil. etc., etc. Luckily, I had a minute or two to transplant some of my potted plants. But guys, next weekend I will have to do the rest. It's becoming so warm. So, my friends, please take care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.